Hi everyone, it's Marie here from Peartree Papercrafts, and today I'm joining in with Danni's Hurray 4K YouTube Hop. So she's reached 4,000 subscribers on her YouTube channel. Well, she did a little while ago. So this is a little hop to celebrate that. So I have decided to scrap rift one of Danni's awesome layouts where she used this Cocoa Vanilla Studios collection. This is Cocoa Vanilla Studios Daydream collection. And she used this gorgeous rainbow paper. And what she did was she cut out all of the rainbows and then kind of fussy cut around them all and then put the sheet back together, but raising all the rainbows up. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Now, I do not make you watch me cut out all of these rainbows. It takes me an awfully long time. The result is beautiful and it really gives some amazing added dimension to the layout. But yeah, it really does take an inordinate amount of time. So I just make you watch me do a couple of them and then I skip ahead. The beauty of process videos and being able to cut bits out. Yeah, don't make you watch it all. You might have seen at the beginning of the video as well, there was a grid with some different options on that were all different, all of Danni's kind of favourite things that she likes to use on layouts. And because it was a 4K hop, it was suggesting that we might choose 4 of those things. So I've got the pattern paper background, I've got the Cutfile, I've got a couple of other things on there as well. I've forgotten what they are now. I've got, the pattern paper background, the Cutfile. I've got the pink or mint. I've got some pinky colours on there. I think there's a little bit of mint on my layout as well. And I've also used some tiny word stickers, and you'll see those towards the end. So what you've just seen me do is stick down what was left of the piece of cardstock after I'd fussy cut all the rainbows out. Now, I did use a craft knife rather than using a pair of scissors because I needed that back piece to be intact, and I've stuck it onto a piece of dark blue basil textured cardstock because I want to just slightly offset the rainbow so that there's a tiny bit of shadow that you can, so it looks like there's like shadow around the rainbow. So I'm putting the little foam pads on the back of each rainbow, sticking them on, but sticking them just to the side ever so slightly. And again, don't make you watch me do the whole of that because you'd be there ages. But there's my sheet put all back together. Now I'm going to be using this cut file. This is Going Places. This has been in my to-do pile for absolutely ages. And then I realised that the photographs I wanted to use of my son Elliot while we were out one day at an adventure playground, I think we were, the colours just suited beautifully, and even though there's lots of pinks and things on the rainbows, it didn't really matter because the blue fit beautifully, the dark blue matched as well, and I really liked the way that looked. So I've just traced around the inside of all my letters, and I'm just going to fussy cut around them, leaving a gap. So I'm not cutting along my lines, I'm cutting maybe 3 or 4 millimeters outside of my line so that there's an extra bit of cardstock that can be stuck down onto the cut file itself. I've decided to leave them all together because all the letters in the cut file are joined together anyway. I might as well leave my bits stuck together just to make it a little bit easier for me for putting it together in the first place. So a tiny little line of glue all the way around the outside and placing that onto the back, pressing it all down, and then just taking my scissors and taking off any tiny little bits that are sticking out. But it's a really quick way, if you're going to do the whole word in the same colour, a really quick way of backing a cut file. So that's that word done. Now I'm just going to do places. I did contemplate doing places in a different colour, but then in the end decided that actually I really just loved that dark blue. I'm using the B side, or the other side, I don't know which one's the A and which one's the B, but I'm using the other side of the rainbow paper. And I may have to see if I can get myself some more of that rainbow paper because I love rainbow papers, and I love what Danni did with this here to kind of make it all dimensional. It did, like I say, it did take a while, but it was so worth it in the end, and I absolutely love the results. So again, just cutting around, leaving that extra gap, and then just going to cut out the middle bits of the E, and then I think there's a few, there's a bit, I've done the C already. So I don't need to do that one. And then again, just a really thin line of glue around the outside of the cut file and sticking on that word. This method has worked beautifully, and I have very little to trim off. So just moving all my little scraps of paper out of the way. Really happy with how that's looking. So I want it roughly in the centre, and I am going to back my photographs. These are cut down from 6x4s, so they don't have a white border, so I'm just going to give them a quick white border by popping them onto some white cardstock. I do like a white border around my photographs, even if it gets lost a little bit. I do prefer to have one, definitely. So much happy with how that looks now with just that extra little bit of white. I do love a white background. And now I'm going to go through what I've got left in this collection. I don't have masses of it left. I've made quite a few layouts actually using this collection, but I have been hoarding this rainbow paper. So I'm going to go with the yellow first. I'm just going to use the edge of my scissors, the outside edge. So I don't open the scissors, I just use kind of the edge of the blade. So I'm just using the outside edge of the scissors to go round and just rough up the edges ever so slightly. And then I decide I'm going to do another colour. And I start by wondering whether to use this pinky colour, the back of this sheet I'm looking at now. But then I decide to go with, there's a sheet of pink hearts instead, and I'm going to go with that instead because it's a slightly bolder colour. I'm not going to have a lot of it showing, so it can be a slightly bolder colour to make sure that you can definitely see it in there. So just trimming around those again. I'm not worrying about whether it's straight particularly. I'm just kind of rushing around with my scissors because I do like to stick my photographs on just slightly wonkied. I'm determined to get my the two pieces of blue though, because I'm going to go with blue as well. I'm determined to get those out of that last little piece there. So I only want to just a hint of it sticking out from around the back, so that works absolutely fine for me. Now I'm going to play with the placement because I want to make sure I get these absolutely spot on with where I want them. So just using the tiniest little bit of sticky there to pop things on so that I can turn the whole thing over and start adding some adhesive. At this point I'm umming and ahhing as to whether to add any dimensional foam to the back of my photo, because I normally put foam on the back of all my photographs, but actually I've decided that the best thing to do here would just be to absolutely coat it in double-sided sticky tape and actually leave it and just go with the idea that there's enough dimension on the page already because of all the rainbows being dimensional. So now I'm just going around with my my wet glue, just literally lifting it up in the places where the cut file touches the raised up rainbows, because there's no point having it all over the back because there's some places where it's not touching at all. So I'm just popping that glue on there just to make sure everything's stuck down. And now I want to pop the middle of the geotags in the middle of the cut file in. This turns out to be a complete waste of time in about 5 minutes when I decide that I'm going to put the flare badges on the middle of the geotags instead, so I didn't even need to bother with the other bits. So I'm just going to go through my ephemera now. On Danni's original, she had some beautiful flower clusters around the outside of her photographs. Now I do start by putting 2 big flower clusters in, but decide it's a little bit it's just too much going on, and I don't want quite that much because I've got 2 photographs instead of 1. I've got the bigger cut file on there, and it just doesn't need all that or anything else really. The background is quite patterned enough. So I pick out a few of those lovely little moths, a few little flowers, and I start tucking them in above the photographs, and then I have a play with them, just move them around basically until I'm happy with the placement. So just tucking those little hearts in. It doesn't need masses and masses on there. Just a couple of the little word stickers as well go on there, so that's the other thing off the list that I do, is a couple of these little mini word stickers. I'm going to pop one underneath the good life that I've put on there, and then I'm going to put one at the bottom of the other photograph as well, just to balance it out. And then again, just bobbing around with my wet glue, sticking everything down. The flare I don't want to stick to start with. I test it in a minute. I do a quick test by lifting up my layout to see if everything is stuck, and everything falls. Well, not everything falls. One of the flares fall off, so then I realise I have to sit there for a couple of minutes and hold them down until they decide to stay in place, and then they stay. So it does work in the end. And then I'm going to add the final few little sequins. I just want a little bit of sparkle. I don't want loads and loads, just a tiny little bit of sparkle. These are sequins from Lucy's shop, and this is a beautiful mix. It's got like pinks and golds in it. It's so pretty. So just popping those on there and then putting those away, and then I think I do, yep, just a couple of little twiddles of thread underneath a couple of the areas on my page, and that is it. That is my layout finished. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please do be sure to pop down to the description box below where you'll find links to everybody else's video in the hop, and a massive congratulations again to Danni for reaching 4,000 subscribers on her channel. That's absolutely awesome. And yeah, I will see you again in the next one. Bye for now.